वाढायला म्हटलं चला उद्यापासून तुमचं लग्न फिक्स.
Yesterday we closed with your big functions. We have a function called as replace. Now whenever you are dealing with your replace, the criteria of replace is you start searching for a particular type of pattern of string. I am very clear in my words, pattern of a string, and that particular pattern will be replaced with any other kind of pattern what you provide. When you are dealing with your replace function, the major role you need to understand is this function can go for replacement of a character with a string, or a string with a string, or even a string with a character. So means the number of characters you search to the number of characters you replace, they don't have any kind of restriction, like they should be same or they should be less or more. Be very clear about that. Now when you are dealing with the composition of your replace, it returns for every occurrence of that particular pattern that is found. Every occurrence in the sense, if 10 times that occurrence is found, 10 times the replace will take place. Now whenever you deal with your replace as a construct, so the corresponding replacement string is provided, means you gave a character or a pattern to search, but you did not provide the string to be replaced, means with what kind of value it has to be replaced, you did not substitute it, then it will be removed. So the criteria what you should always understand is this function has the ability of searching and replacing, searching and removing, both it can do, be very clear about that. Now it can substitute for a string to string or a character to character or a string to a character or character to string, whatever kind of combination you give, that doesn't matter. So if you just watch here, we are going with a word called as Jack and Jill, and we are very clearly saying that search for the J. So I am saying that search for a pattern called as J. How many times J is found in this? 2 times. So wherever your J is found means the first time where your J is found, automatically in that particular place of the J, your PL will be substituted, making the Jack become black. And in the same way, once again the J is found in this location. So this J is once again resubstituted by PL, where J becomes blue. Okay, so J becomes blue automatically. So you are searching for a single character or you are searching for multiple number of characters, it doesn't matter. The composition of the function goes in such a way that technologically you are able to go for making a substitution of the process according to your requirement that is basically arising. Be very clear about that. So for every occurrence that is found, it will be substituted as many number of times as it is found. Now here it has one more feature. The feature what you should understand here is, I am saying that search for J. How many times my J is found? 2 times. Now I am not providing the substitution. I am not providing the replacement pattern. Now when I don't provide the replacement pattern, it is automatically removed. You can just watch from both the processes J is lost. This is the area where your interviewer can ask you an indirect question. What he may say is, can you write a query such that the query can specifically say how many number of J's are existing in this particular data. A student who is not understanding the standard of the actual functions, he will take much lot of time. Where it's a very simple composition. You just watch, I am calling my length of Jack and Jill. You know very well that length gives you what? It gives you the number of characters that are basically available. And then you are saying minus. When replace is replacing any data, but the replacement data is not provided, then automatically replace is removing it. When it is removing, it reduces the size also. So we are taking length of this replace of Jack and Jill with J, but we are not providing the actual amount of replacement. Means what character should be replaced, we are not providing it. So automatically what happens is, it will tell you n number of J's. So it automatically provides a number of J's. There's nothing but your number of J's in my particular data is 2. So every function will have one area of application. Function individually you know or you do not know is not a question. But function by its implementation, how many number of times you are able to apply, that's where the question arises. So I'm not saying that after 24 hours you may say that you don't know length function. But if a question comes from the interviewer, do you know where exactly the length function has to be applied? In what combination it has to be called with the replace? Therefore, function by its syntax you are learning, it's good. But function by its semantics, how many times you are assessing, that's very important. So, you're not catching up the function by its semantics properly, then technically what happens is, to the function you're always ready to give the answer, but its application you may be missing what exactly you should do. Therefore, replace is just not a composition that only goes for the sake of searching and replacing. The corresponding replacement data is removed, it also removes it. So this function can do both the jobs, searching and replacing, searching and removing. Be very clear on the constructs, okay? Now when you are dealing with any specific function, it has this kind of ability. Every function has some kind of behaviors. Those behaviors you have to catch, okay? Just make a note. Whenever replace function is used, the function searches for a specific character. The function searches for a specific character or pattern of characters. Searches for a specific character or pattern of characters. And replaces all those patterns. Replaces all those patterns by the corresponding pattern that is provided. By the corresponding pattern that is provided. Okay, next point. If the replacement pattern is not provided, then such combination of characters which are found, are removed from the actual data, reducing the original size of the actual text. Reducing the original size of the actual text. By length of its existence. Okay, next point. When replacement is done, it is not specific to the similar length of characters or strings. It's not specific to similar length of characters or strings. Similar length of characters or strings. Okay, now we can just watch here in this example. We are saying that go and concentrate on the column called as what? Job. And then we are saying that search for a string called as what? Man. And then we are saying that replace that with what? Tam. So, I am restricting my query to a set of managers only. So, you can just watch here. Wherever man was there, that string as it is replaced by what? Tam. So, technically the state of the word automatically changes. So, here constructively what I want to say is, these functions are very important for search oriented process. When you want to go for any corrections in the data, then these functions can do that particular piece of the job very, very easily. Be very clear about that. Where you don't need to write great lot of complicated compositions for searching and replacing and all these things. You just understand any good editors how you find and replace constructs will be working. In those areas, these functions can always help us. So do try to understand these particular constructs very properly. Now coming to the specification, the pattern is always by the characters what it picks up, and here it's not a character set, it's a pattern by nature. Be very, very clear about that. Now any kind of data what you are trying to associate or basically you are trying to operate on that, you're just trying to say search for the sake of what? Job with a criteria of pattern called as what? P. Did I give the replacement data? No. So precedent is always displayed as what? No, precedent. The corresponding search pattern is automatically removed. So you do not provide the replacement string, it definitely goes for the sake of removing that particular piece of the character or string, decreasing the overall size of the actual data. Be very, very clear about that. Now, in the place of replace, we can even use a composition called as your translate. The criteria is, you watch carefully, when you are using translate, its logic is different totally. When you are coming the concept of the replace, you can just want, I am searching for how many characters of pattern?
3 characters.
But I think I am replacing for a huge pattern over here. That's what I was saying, like when you are dealing with the replace, we don't have a rule that we need to go with equal size of the patternized data. Equal size is not a rule. So on a technological perspective, when you are moving in, the size doesn't matter anywhere. So I could be just searching for a pattern of 3 characters, but I am going for the replacement of the process with a huge amount of pattern that's available. So what you search, what you replace, that's totally your choice of implementation. So how exactly you go for the sake of your requirement, that your system on which you are working will tell you there are no standardizations here. You need to always understand this. Now, always we cannot use a logic of replace everywhere, because replace logic is search for a pattern, replace a pattern directly. But when you come to some issues, I cannot do like that. I have always go with in such a way like, I need to search for a particular character and I have to go for translation of such character only at that position. Means character by character I want to do the job. Then we call that concept as translation. So replace is not character by character. Replace is by what? Pattern by pattern. But when you come to translate, translate also sometimes will look as if it's replace. But translate is always nothing but it's a concept of character by corresponding character as a process. When I say corresponding, you should always remember the point very carefully to the position what we specify. So when you're dealing with the translate, it also takes a criteria of the data on which you want to apply. It specifically takes the kind of character pattern, means it takes the kind of character sets what you want to go for translation and the corresponding position of characters that are existing. Be very clear about that. So in this case also, if a particular type of character is provided for translate, but it is not given for the sake of the translation, it removes it. But in translate, you should always understand the translation character is compulsory. At least one character should be given. Either it can be a space or something, but without this last argument, translate cannot work. In replace, last argument is not optional. But in translate, it's not like that. Definitely, at least one character for translation should be there. Therefore, we should not use translate function for the sake of any time to find the number of characters what we have done in replace. Because in replace, if a character is removed, space is not filled there, it is truncated. But in translate, it's not like that. There can be spaces. Because of those extra spaces that are embedded or pads that are embedded, the size may not differ. Be very clear about that. When the size is not differing, then definitely I don't think you can catch the actual length at any point of time. Therefore, when you go for number of times a particular character is repeating, if you want to go for such kind of logic, replace is a better function rather than translate. Be very, very clear about these concepts. Now you just watch here how exactly these functions constructs will work. Now you just check in this case, we are calling translate on job. It's very clear I'm working only on what? Precedent. I am calling my translate by saying a search for the character called as what? T. And then you just watch, I don't want to keep anything in that particular place. Now I am removing this particular last character set that has to be translated. If I am doing this in my replace, it's practically not an error. P will be removed and automatically resident will be given to me. But when you are dealing with your composition of your translate, it cannot do like that. In translate, some character set has to be provided for translation definitely. That's the only reason when you are dealing with your translate, always be careful. Character by character it goes for translation. For every single character, at least a particular position has to be applied, where that position can be at least a space. Therefore you watch, it is looking like resident, nobody can deny that. But here if you just watch, you are having a space. Because of this, you cannot use translate for sake of finding the number of times the data is existing, because the space never reduces. When the space is not reducing, you cannot catch the length of the constructive string. Be very clear about that. So translate to replace, some outputs can be same, but technologically you cannot consider translate and replace are always same. Means what? You just watch this case. The same kind of output we got for managers, even by using what? Replace as damager. But in replace, what happened when the string was totally replaced at a time with what? Dam. Pattern to pattern. But in translate, it's not happening like that. What is happening? You want? It started on this data. Now, M is there in the set. This is the set I want to search, and this is a set I want to translate. Now watch carefully, this is the first character in my search, do you agree with me?
Yes.
And in that same first position, what is there? D. Means whenever M is found, D will be translated. In that same position, be very clear about that. The second character in my search is what? N. Now N is in second position, so its translation is M. So you cannot say M will be M or N will be T now. Means character to character translation corresponding to position. That word plus corresponding to position should be very, very clear to you. Be very specific. Therefore, here you are having M now. M is in the set or it's not in the set?
In the set.
It's in the set. In the set it is in which position?
First
position. So translation will be done to what now? D. So that's how you got the D here. Then A is in the character set or it's not in the character set?
Not in the character set.
Therefore it is given as it is. Then N is in the set or it's not in the set? In the set. In the set at which position?
Second position.
Second position. Now second position to translation character in second position is what? M. So in the place of N, M came. That's how it's working. So it will pick up one character. If the character is found in the set in which position, translation character at that position only. Be very clear about that. Therefore, replace logical behavior is different, translate logical behavior is different. Be very, very clear about that. You want a patternized replacement, then you will go for what? Replacement. You want a character-wise translation, we go for the sake of what? Translate. But here the words also should be used very properly. But if anybody says that I'm going to patternize translation, in common sense it could be correct, but in technicality it is wrong. Be very clear about the form. Your vocabulary plays a very important role when you are speaking with your interviewers. Be very clear about that. But you can't use indifferent vocabulary when you are dealing with functions, because every function is having one specific state of its area and its application. Therefore, you just speak in your own way, it will definitely affect through the process. Be very, very clear about that. Are you catching the point now? So, translation is only to the rule of what? The corresponding positions. Okay, just make a note. When translate function is implemented, it always operates on a character set that is represented on a character set that is represented with combination of translational character sets. With combination of translational character sets. Translational character sets corresponding to their positions. Corresponding to their positions. Okay, next point. Whenever translate function is used, it always deals with character by character evaluation, within the original string. Okay, so that's the difference between a replace and translate. Now coming to one of the function we have is called a CHR function. Now when you are dealing with CHR function, the name itself is telling you it's a char function where if you supply the ASCII number, it returns the equivalent character out of it. So there are two constructs here. Your Oracle supports even foreign language characters also. Therefore, if you are having Unicode support from your Oracle's architecture, in such case, if you are having any Unicode numbers, then if you give that Unicode number to the CHR, if you are giving that Unicode number to your CHR, then you have used this particular class definite using ncar_cs. So if you are using only Unicode, you have to use this. If it's an ASCII, you can directly go with this composition. Now technically, it may look like as if it's not very great function, but every function has its own applicability. You just watch it. I'm calling the data is CHR of 67 concatenated with CHR of 65 concatenated with CHR of select 84. So by the time you are closing this particular construct of its implementation, it becomes CAT. So the ASCII of 67, the ASCII of 65, the ASCII of 84. We are just concatenating. So normally for a normal for a student it may look like, so what is so great about the process now? Some situations when they are demanded, then only we'll understand where this function comes and stands. See, every function has some ability. Oracle need not show you that ability by giving you some application-oriented examples. If Oracle is not giving application-oriented examples, doesn't mean that it's not working. See, Oracle cannot tell you where exactly it fits, where exactly it can be applied. That way, no technology in the world can really give you any example. So, Oracle also can give you a few examples, that's all, maybe something like this. Now, you have to use your common sense of your business analysis. In your business analysis, where exactly it could be applied, you should call up. One day you are in the interview room and your interviewer is just asking you a question like this you just watched, where suppose say like you're having some data, select star from EMP, you're going with where employee number is equal to, I'm just trying to say 7839. Now this is the data what I'm having with me. Now he is saying that he wants this data. Generally whatever way we have presented the data, this is called as tabular presentation. But your interviewer is asking that I want a form-based presentation. Form-based presentation in the sense is expecting something like this. Let us say employee number 7839, employee name, I want this as Mr. King. He is saying that I want the output like this. Means each column of data should come in each row for that record. This is called as form-based presentation data. But actually whenever you are dealing with the process, your database, not only Oracle, any database has an ability. What is that? After one record is presented, then only a new line will come. Means for every record it will keep the data in one new line. But he is expecting what here? For every column a new line should come. So when we are really aware of the function, we can always do that. So just watch the way we are going now. I am saying select employee number I am saying employee number concatenated with CHR of 10. Now the CHR of 10 is nothing but it is the ASCII of the enter key. That is the ASCII of enter key. So you know the ASCII number of a particular type of character. Using CHR we can force it to get executed. But in Oracle we don't have \n. Especially for freshers will ask this question. In C language, if you want a new line, you have \n. Can you tell me in Oracle how to produce \n? So many number of times in the programming sense only students will go on thinking. But is asking you not in programming sense, you can ask it in any way. So a student who is aware of select the CHR function, he'll immediately remember and says, so if I know the ASCII value of \n with respect to the environment where I am working, then I can definitely pass that particular ASCII number and I can always get through my particular new line immediately by using CHR function. Now you need not tell that CHR of 10. Even if you don't tell that 10 also, it's not an issue. You're very clear saying that if I can know the ASCII of the \n or my enter key. So it's a conceptual way in which you speak. Now you just watch here, we are going with employee name, and then we are just going down with the process by just keeping this with e-name. Then we are just moving down with this. Then we are having employee department ID. Then I am just moving down with the department number concatenated with. And then you are just moving with CHR of 10. Then you are once again saying employee job. And we are just trying to say concatenated with job and the CHR of 10. Then we are just trying to say employee hire date. Then we are just calling upon this by going with hire date, and then we are going with employee salary. Then I am going with salary. Then I am going on with the CHR of 10. I am moving with employee commission. Then we set commission here, CHR of 10. Then we are just trying to say employee manager ID. Then we are just going with this. We are saying MGR. So you are having totally 8 columns of data. Then definitely 8 columns of representation has been done. This is the last column now. For this I don't need any CHR of 10. So I am just trying to say employee information. This is what I did. And then I am going with from EMP, and we are saying where employee number is equal to, we are saying 7839. So for every column a new line has been associated. So whenever you deal with the process, how you think about a function is your choice. So I am saying 7654. I am definitely getting my data in the form of a form-based output. Giving a new line for every single individual column of data what we are presenting. If any function is clear to you, applicability and implementation will be clear to you. That's what I say. you're looking into the function by syntax, I can't just help you because every function has some syntax and you don't need to worry about it. But you should understand the internal clause behind the function and start working. If you give an ASCII number, if it can provide you the character, then if I provide a character, then I want the ASCII. So we have ASCII function. So ASCII function is nothing but a function that takes a character from you and returns the corresponding ASCII number of it. Now here you should always check one thing, strings do not have any ASCII. So only characters have ASCII, be very clear about that. So whenever you call ASCII, a character based input is expected. So if I give a string, what happens? It will give you the ASCII of the first character and leaves. No errors will be given to you. So what do you mean by this? You just watch here. We are just trying to say the ASCII of character ampersand of gchar 01 is, we are calling ASCII of ampersand of G char 02. I'm just trying to say char 2 ASCII, as we are saying, from G1. You just watch, we are giving this. So the ASCII of character A is 65. So for any specific character, you can pick up the process. Be very clear about this. Say like I'm just calling with my small a. So it automatically goes with its ASCII, that's nothing but 97. Now I'm just going with my construct with 1 and 1. So its ASCII in the numerical state is 49. So whenever you deal with the concern, I did not give any data, then what happens? See, your enter key is directly not recognized. Be very clear about that. So I want to know my enter key as a process. You can't directly check it because, see, SQL is not designed to catch your keyboard signals directly. So for you, an enter key is there, and according to programming language, it is what? \n. So when you are pressing enter key without giving any data, your system of Oracle considers it as a null. So it is taking that, and without giving any data, you press the enter key, it considers that as what? Null, and technically it tries to go with that particular null as a character, propagating it. Therefore you can't just say I am not getting ASCII of my enter key. See, special characters you can't get, or special signals that are generated from your keyboard, you can't get any kind of criteria of the ASCII standards. So how to work out? The char and ASCII, both functions you work together and try to identify. There were few ASCII characters, we have to definitely know what they are. We can't directly look into them by using what? Keyboards. You need to check that now. In this case, you just watch, I am giving something like apple. Actually, ASCII is only for the sake of what? Characters but not strings. Therefore, it will give you the ASCII of the first character and keeps quiet. Therefore, you can't say ASCII of apple is 65 now. That's very wrong to speak. Be very, very clear about this. Therefore, when a string of input is given, then definitely the function will associate to the first character of the string and keeps quiet. So these are the major number of character functions. With your day-to-day requirement, almost a major number of these functions will definitely influence. You cannot escape. Now let us move into the number functions. When you are coming into number functions, many number of number functions are straightforward mathematical compositions. Those functions which are straightforward mathematical compositions, I don't want to keep my mind on that now because I don't think at this stage I need to teach you mathematics once again. Function is straightforward in mathematics, you don't need to worry about it. Few functions that definitely creates logical imbalance, we will be concentrating on those functions. Any function you are using in number function style, the function has accuracy up to 38 decimal digits in the Oracle's operational architecture. Therefore, you don't need to worry about the accuracy level of your particular digits or any specific numbers what you are having. Be very clear. Now coming to the round function, whenever you are trying to operate, a round function and truncate function together you should use. The round function and your truncate function together you have to implement them, be very clear about that. So, whenever you are dealing with round and trunc, where exactly their need arises, you should be clear over it. I just want to concentrate on one specific number, what we are taking and what we are discussing. Then function will be clear to you in fraction of seconds. Now, I am having some number, let us say, something like this, with dot. I am having a criteria of 4, 8. I am just trying to say, suppose 3, 7. Okay, this is some data what I am having with me. This data is having decimal numbers as well as the real part or no? Yes. Now I am saying that correct this number to 3 decimal places. When I am saying correct this number to 3 decimal places, I am definitely expecting to be corrected up to here. Yes or no? There are 2 ways of correcting this number. One way is, suppose say like you are taking this number and you are giving this with 4. Means making a correction to this place value, because this is 5 or greater than 5 according to mathematics. If this kind of correction is done, we call this as rounding of the number. This logic is called as rounding of the number. So, you are rounding the number by making a correction to the place values, by following the rules of mathematics. So this is one kind of construct. The same number, I am once again trying to go for the construct of its implementation by saying that please correct the number to 3 decimal places. The other kind of style of correcting the number is by giving only 4, 8, 3 only. Means here I am actually having 5 or more than 5, but when I am returning without any correction. I am correcting the number of places, but I am not correcting the place value. So when this is basically done, we call this construct as truncating the number. This is called as truncating of the number. So in real-time environment when you are working, both are important. In real-time projects, both the kind of concepts are important. Be very clear about that. So, when you just want to go with the process, your round function and truncate function are used for this purpose. So, I will take the same number and I will be working with the process. So, we are saying select. This is the original number, what we want to give to the specification of our executions. Then I am calling round of that number. Now I don't want to give any kind of parameters, select arguments for this. Then I am saying round. Then I am once again calling my truncate. I am just going with the same number. That is truncate. And I am saying from dual. So when we are trying to move on with the process of this, you can just watch the round of this number. When we said, you just check it is removing the total decimal portion, since I did not say how many places I have to correct. And you watch very carefully, 4 is less than 5. So automatically the number is returned as it is. No corrections. Now truncate is also giving the same result or no? But you just watch carefully, in the same number, I made this as 5. That position is 5. And I am going for the sake of my corrections. This 2516 became 2517. And this is 2516 as it is. So that's where you can catch the round and truncate's behavior, how they exactly go for correction. So when I don't mention anything, automatically the position of the decimal place is totally eliminated. Now the same function we can just call in by passing some arguments. Sir, what do you mean by this? Now you are just catching me through the process. I am saying the comma 3. So I'm very clearly saying that correct me up to 3 places. So when I said correct me up to 3 places, you can just watch. It is taking my instruction. This is 7, 5 or more than 5. Therefore, dot 484. When you come to the truncate, it is 483. On the same size, it's hanging out. Now the same thing you just watch, I said 2 places. When I said 2 places, both will look same once again. Dot 48. Whereas you can just work because this is what? 3. Now when we are coming through the construct of 1, I am saying that I want the correction up to 1 decimal place. Then automatically you can just watch. Here round is making this 4 as what? 5. Truncate is continuing as it is. Now in the place of this particular 1, I am keeping 0. Not providing any argument or providing 0. Both are same. So I am saying that I don't want any kind of decimal place. I want only the real part. Now here, this value can even be negative. Be very clear. Means what? -1. So whenever I am saying -1, what Oracle does is, it will try to concentrate on the units place. But remember one thing, on decimal side, if any number is eliminated, its place value becomes what? 0. 0 on the rightmost side in the decimal side has no value. Therefore Oracle never represents. But 0 in the real part on the right side has value or it has no value? It has value. Therefore I am saying that remove the units place. When I say remove the units place, we are saying that fill the units place with what? 0. Correct to the tens place. So here you just watch the output. You'll just get an idea. We are just getting this as units place as 0. This is 5 or more than 5. The tens place automatically became what? 2 here. And the actual truncate is working in the same way. We can even go with this by saying please correct with 2. -2. -2 means I am saying correction where now? Tens place. If 10th place has to be corrected, unit should be filled with what? 0 definitely. So in that way you can just watch what is happening. The units place became 0, tens place also became 0. 10 is less than 5, therefore 5 as it is continued with 500. You don't take few numbers and if you don't practice, you will definitely have some problem with these 2 functions, especially beginners. See how many hours you are working, that's final. You just spend 15-20 minutes of your time and half an hour and you say that I won't understand. You will never understand. I am making the point very clear. You can be the president of the world and you are very busy. You want Oracle, you have to work. So, it's nothing like that. You are just the most busiest person you want to. It can't happen. You are wasting your time, you are wasting your money if you are not practicing, I am telling you. So, definitely be very clear about that. But all those working professionals who would be attending the sessions are making my point very clear. You have to work. There's no other way. You can't give any excuses like, sir, I'm so busy. Everybody is busy in their life. You want the change in your life, you work. You don't want to change, don't work. That's it. So, you're sitting in this class even after working for some company means you're expecting a change in some lifestyle. You want that, you have to work. Sir, I'm not getting time. Don't say that. Know how to conserve your time. That's it. Throughout the day you are very busy, you will sleep for 6 hours a day. Let us say. Make it 2 hours a day and work for 4 hours compulsory. That's it. So sleeping for only 2 hours, can I be alive in the world or no? That's your psychological strength. That's it. Walk on the road and fall down, but practice Oracle first. Else you will always have your own trouble, be very clear about that. Sir, you sit and eat on your dining table for 1 hour. Stop that useless time spending on dining table. In 5 minutes, finish off everything, save 55 minutes. So now, how to eat in 5 minutes? Now that you should know, I don't know. Sir, I can't eat in 5 minutes. Stop eating 1 time a day, no problem. Okay? You will at least build wonderful physical of yourself. Some calories are saved definitely. And you are helping many Indians also, I hope so, by leaving the price for that particular part of the day. But work, that's it. Don't say any childish stories now, okay? Sir, I'm not getting time. A child in the KG class will give that reason. So, you want a different lifestyle, work. You don't want a different lifestyle, leave it. That's all. But don't give any unwanted things like people will feel sympathetic. Sir, I'm so busy, nobody will feel sympathetic towards you. Okay? Practicality is very different. I'm making my points very clear. Be absolutely practical from your side. Therefore, no way reasons are entertained if you are not working. Function looks very simple when I'm explaining in the class, but its effectivity will change when you are dealing with yourself. Because you will get doubts only when you work. So I'm not working. You don't have any liberty to get a doubt first of all. So start working, start moving now. Every function has its own logical reason to which it has to operate. Coming to the seal function and the float function. These two functions are once again designed for numerical control. There are many number of cases I have seen where people say seal and floor are same with one another. Never. If they are exactly same with one another, then they don't have difference. Second thing, seal and floor are never same to round and truncate. Some results may be same, but not all situations. When you deal with your round and truncate, the round and truncate concept is very specific. Any number will be corrected by decimal places or without decimal places according to your choice. But when you come to seal and floor, you give any floating point number, it will be corrected to integer. Means the job of seal and floor is always to return a integer. If you give integer, it returns integer. If you give a floating point number, it corrects the floating point number to what? Integer. Which integer? Seal always corrects the floating point number to the nearest highest integer. Floor always corrects that particular piece of the number to the lowest nearest integer. But both the ways correction is done to integers. So you just watch here, the same numbers I will take and I will be working. Because that's a number well known to us. So I'm just going with this as seal. And seal and floor, they don't take any arguments. First understand this. For our clarity, I'm saying seal. Then this is your floor. And then I'm just moving down with this, without this. And I'm saying here, floor. Now, you just check, in both the cases I'm having floating point value or not? Yes. Now, 2516.4837 to this nearest integer is what? 2517. And for this 2516.4837, what is the nearest integer to this on the lower side? 2516. So, that's what it does. Nearest highest integer, lowest nearest integer. So, the job of the seal and floor is to return always an integer from a floating point value. So, it is a correction that is done in every financial accounting management system. Any bill corrections are existing in the world. With any accounting and financial management systems, you can never find them existing without having round and truncate seal and floors. So your project will define what exactly you have to do. You give any kind of number, on that if that number is moving down well, the criteria of the decimals. Means if it is a floating point, 150% to the relevance of the floating point it will work. So this the nearest integer is 1 and to this the lowest is what? 0. So if I give the data as directly an integer itself, it's already an integer, so you don't need to ask this function, please give me once again with a status called as integer, because the value is already an integer, it returns it as it is. These four functions are very important functions as far as your application is concerned. The remaining few, I'm just trying to touch. We don't have modulus operator with us, so we have modulus function with us. Now you don't need to worry like, sir, in Oracle or SQL we don't have modulus operator to find a reminder. You have a function for the purpose. That's how Oracle, if it is not giving any operator for you, in the place of operator it substitutes with a function. Equivalent function will be there. Therefore, for everything you cannot demand that there should be a criterion composition of what? An operator. So you just watch, I want to find the remainder of a division. Then I can always go with select. We are saying 125. I am saying it is numerator. Then I am just going with suppose something like 3. Then I am saying denominator. What I want to specify. Then I am directly going with 125 divided by 3. This is nothing but quotient. This we calculated by what? Operator. But I am saying modulus of 125, 3. This is remainder. So whenever we are trying to move into the process, this is where we get on with the process of remainder by saying from dual. So this is the quotient what it's calculating, and this is a remainder what it's giving you. So we don't have any kind of operator for modulus. We have function for the sake of modulus. So I don't think any programmer coming from other languages will feel insecure on the process now. Now coming to, we have power function. Anytime you want to raise to the power of any number, you can call the power function. So what do you exactly mean by this? You just watch here. We are saying power of, we just want to go with 25, 5. So I'm just trying to say power from dual. So it is calculating 25 to the power of 5. Now it can be of any combination and 25 to the power of minus 5. Anytime a number is too lengthy, Oracle represents a number like this, which is called a scientific notation. It is very simply saying that 1.0240 into 10 to the power of minus 7. It is raising to the exponentiation. Oracle has that ability automatically. I already said if the number is more than 10 digits, it will definitely go for it. So you just need to recognize that particular factor. Now I am just trying to say minus 25 to the power of 5. You are going with the construct of minus 25 to the power of minus 5. You are just moving downward the construct and criteria with 25.25 to the power of 5. You are just moving down with the construct of 25 to the power of 5.25. Very perfectly designed, very perfectly designed. So you be very clear. The only rule you have to remember is, if m is negative, n must be an integer. Means what? You just want, this is a negative number. This is a floating point or it's an integer? Floating point. Now it will give you an error. So why Oracle is giving an error? To the mathematics it's going. According to the rule of mathematics, when you calculate the power, the process of the power cannot be a floating point number, but the base is a negative number. If it is happening like this, it becomes a complex number theory. Complex number systems are never answered by any computer scientists because they are only imaginary numbers. So where mathematics is not extending, Oracle also will not extend, because Oracle cannot do anything beyond the actual rule of mathematics. So you cannot say that Oracle is not giving this. There is a rule in mathematics in which this combination is not accepted. Therefore, Oracle also will not do that. Therefore, Oracle always works on formal methods, not informal methods. So, any combination of the power it can calculate. You don't need to worry. The next is square root. Now, it will be kidding at this stage if I start teaching you what is a square root. But I just want to tell you that there is a function to calculate your square roots directly. You are saying from dual. And you can always move on with the square roots, let us say, with the decimals. But the rule says that we can't have square roots for negative numbers. Oracle follows the same rule. So what your mathematical composition speak, everything will be taken as it is. We have a function called as absolute. Now generally a beginner will have a wrong notion that absolute means converting a negative number into positive number. It's not the correct way. Absolute means concentrating only on the value of the number but not the sign of the number. I'm not interested in the sign, I'm interested only in the value. So you just watch carefully. We are saying select dname comma sal comma commission, and we are saying sal minus commission. There is no such rule that all the employees should have commission. That's first thing. Second is, there is no rule that any employee's commission should be less than the salary only. Be very clear about that. So I am saying is not null to the commission. If you just want, Martin's salary is less than commission. So it's giving me minus 150. I am not interested in the sign of the difference. I want only the value of the difference. Then we'll directly call this ABS function. The moment I call that ABS, you can just watch, it only gives us the numbers but not the sign. So technically when you are trying to operate on the process, be very clear to the construct and composition. I am not interested in the sign of any number, but I am interested only in the value of that particular number. We go with the concept of what? ABS. In the same way, every number has a sign or it will not have a sign. It has a sign. I want to find the sign of the number. Then we will call this sign function. Now when we say sign function, Oracle never written sign as minus or select this negative numbers as minus and positive numbers as plus. It returns a sign in the form of numerical values. Any number is less than 0, it returns minus 1. Any number is equal to 0, it returns 0. Any number is greater than 0, it returns what? Plus 1. That's what it does. So, technically try to understand one thing. We are saying select what? Ename comma, we are saying sal comma, commission comma, sal minus commission. I am saying this is difference. Then I am saying sign of sal minus commission, and I am just trying to say this is sign, and from dual, so from EMP, and I am saying where commission is not null. So you can just watch, wherever the result is negative, it's giving you minus 1. That's how the sign function returns. Sign function always returns to the specification of the sign in the form of a numerical states. You can't expect plus to be plus, minus to be minus. No, that kind of symbolic representation is not done. It's done with the numerical representation. Be very clear about that. Now, in this overall constraint, I want one specification. Okay, your interviewer asks you one question like, get me the details of all the employees who are having their salaries less than commission. Okay, a simple question. Get the details of all the employees who are having their salaries which are less than commission. Major number of